I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain, I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints, money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague, we all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name, all our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be, living in a time where disease is on every screen, I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering, negativity is a plague for the mentally weak, no mercy, all I got is working, never stop searching, never quite so thirsty, I'm toxic and psychotic, with this logic, you can't stop it, it's been chronic, since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic,
Built to last with the webs I'm weaving, I could change the past with all I'm achieving, got my foot on gas, never stop competing, if you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em, make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em, if you take off the cast, you can see all the healing, if the pain's in the past, move on from the grieving, put your foot on the gas, no, never stop competing, yeah.
I've been doing this, I'm on it, I just wanna be iconic, sipping on a gin and tonic, got me going off when I'm on this topic, yeah. If I ever play, I want it, you know that I'm always honest, stay away from those who are toxic, keep them out your face, no way, you don't want it, yeah.
Don't try to drain my energy, the enemy is everything, it's mentally, unhealthily, spreading like a rare disease, but I won't let it get to me, I don't need your therapy, I can leave a legacy of leading by intensity, come on, we can fight this, freedom is priceless, spread just like a virus, living in a crisis, do you feel courageous, do you seek greatness, trust me you can take it, go on and take your aim, yeah. Built to last with the webs I'm weaving, I could change the past with all I'm achieving, got my foot on gas, never stop competing, if you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em, make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em, if you take off the cast, you can see all the healing, if the pain's in the past, move on from the grieving, put your foot on the gas, no, never stop competing, yeah.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, yeah.
Turn on your mind now, tune into the feed. We're planting digital flowers from a single tiny seed. Yeah, power to the collective in the data and the soul. The hive mind's getting louder, finding voice and control.
When we get to the FBI, we don't know who did the work. You heard that any of that information is redacted. We don't know who did the work. It's a giant secret. We know that by the time the FBI gets involved, the profile, the text file, that's a snip to use to try to identify somebody is more than twice as big when it gets to the FBI from Othram. We don't know how.
I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town.
What is going on, Hive? I hope that everybody's having a fantastic start to their Saturday. As you know, today is the Hive Plus War Room. So although the stream, everybody can watch it, the chat is locked down just for what the Hive's version of the members are. So thank you to everybody who does choose to support the stream financially and is in the chat here today. To all those watching, not in the chat, sit back, relax, and you are in for a great conversation. I got SHAULLYREDACTED, BELLAMICIAPRETTYMUCH, and SLEUTHORSNARE backstage. Unfortunately, DDAWGWIFEY lost their voice, and if there's anybody that understands that, it is myself. So I totally understand as to why you don't want to push the vocal cords. I'm not going to take long at all doing the intro because we have no shortage of stuff to talk to with the wonderful ladies backstage. I'm going to read this disclaimer. The following material includes archived public posts, forum content, news articles shared for informational and analytical purposes only. These materials are presented as historical records and do not reflect my views or my guest views or assertions of fact. No claims are being made regarding guilt, innocence, or intent. Viewers are encouraged to verify all information independently and understand that online content may be inaccurate, incomplete, or misleading. This channel, being Birdie_Hive Mind, abides by YouTube's community guidelines. Content is not intended to harass, defame, or incite violence against any individual or group. This channel does not promote hate speech, harassment, or harmful misinformation. And if you have not hit that like button, Hive, please go ahead, do all of the things, screenshot this so that when the live concludes, all you got to do is go into your photos and then tap the QR code. It'll bring up the Hive merch store, Spotify playlist for the intro song, my TikTok, as well as our Discord. And then I know that those emojis have been hit or miss, which is starting to really tick me off. I'll tell you what, that really just chaps my ass. That pisses me off that doesn't work for you all right now. But if you would like to sign up to be in the chat, the mods will be dropping that link as well. And then you'll get a loyalty badge and you'll have access to the chat today. Now, I'm not going to take too much time saying what's up to everybody. I'm going to bring up the crew right away. And then, as always, on Saturdays, we do a giveaway, a merch giveaway for people that are Hive Plus members. And so I have that up and ready to go. But first, I'm going to go ahead and introduce the Hive Plus Roundtable. And so we have SLEUTHORSNARE, SHAULLYREDACTED, and BELLAMICIAPRETTYMUCH. How are you ladies doing? Wait, I have you on mute. And now, how are you ladies doing?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, doing good here.
I'm gonna throw up.
No. It'll be fine. Just treat it like a group FaceTime call with a bunch of people watching. But Hive, please let me know if the audio, just type a 1 if the audio is equal. I think I got it pretty good backstage when we were chatting. And so Sleuth, Bellamicia, and Sholly, I was telling you, I think it'd be fun if how we started this roundtable was we did the giveaway tool. And so that is what we are going to do now right away. And so Hive, what you are going to do is you are going to type in the word hashtag Hive Mind. And all you have to do is type Hive Mind. The comments will be collected. And then when we collect enough comments, I will press draw and we will see a random username become the winner. And in the meantime, while you all are entering those in, I know that Sleuth, Sholly, and Bella, you all have been tuned into the Hive now for quite some time, and we really have no direction. That's the beauty of this roundtable. And so wherever you three want to start when we get done, we can do that. But I always like to know, what is it about the Idaho 4 case that has you still to this day looking into it? And Sleuth, if you want to go first, and then Sholly, and then Bellamicia.
Yeah, so actually I have a brother-in-law who is on death row in Texas. And so a lot of things just kind of stick out to me. I like to find the truth just because his truth wasn't really told. He wasn't the only one involved in that case, but he was the only one that went to death row.
Is he still on death row, or he was?
He is. Yes,
oh,
sir.
Man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, appeals after appeals, you know, stuff like that. But 20 years he's been there, so it's rough, but you know, we get through
Holy hell. Well, and I don't want to have you share anything you don't want to, but I mean, 20 years already is wild. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, but I watched Dylan's actually her victim impact statement. It was the first thing that kind of drew me to this case. I was like, there's something way off. I don't like it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know Dylan. The whole 8 hours, Dylan has gotten a lot of people into this case. But thank you for sharing that, Sleuth. And what about you, Sholly?
I'm a justice seeker at the end of the day. I like the truth. I like to know the truth, and it's never really sat well with me. It was the 911 call for me that first tipped me off that things weren't quite as they were supposed to be.
Yep. And Bellamicia, what is it for you?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I've been through some really bad eras in my life. I did 8 years in prison, 8 years flat, no parole, because when my daughter was 11 years old, she was abducted by a neighbor and she was brutally sexually assaulted and left for dead. And I think that day when they came, I owned a club then, they came and they told me, I thought she had gotten, they wouldn't tell me what happened. They just told me that she was in the hospital. I need to come with them. And I got there and I saw a lot of police, a lot of detectives. And I thought, no, she hasn't been hit by a car. And they set me down. They told me what had happened to her. And she had to go into surgery. And when she went into surgery, I went, because she told me who did it. And she's 11. So she's able to talk to me. And she wouldn't talk to anyone. She waited for me. And I went to his house and I shot him. I put him in the trunk of my car and I drove around with him, wanting him to bleed to death because I went crazy. And I got more time than he did. And they found his DNA in my 11-year-old daughter.
Oh my God.
He got out and he reoffended before I even got out of prison. And the people's daughter who he reoffended with contacted me and asked me would I be a witness for them. And of course I did. And then I did a lot of work in the Texas legislature trying to talk to people to get them to change the sex offender laws in Texas. And it just got me sparked on looking at cases and finding justice, because still to this day, I don't believe that my daughter got justice.
Wow.
I don't believe what I did gave her justice either. I believe that was a big mistake. And this many years later, which is 22 years later, I wish that I had handled it differently. And so
wow,
that's why.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That is, I don't even know if there's anything to really respond to. I think that there's probably a lot of people that would have done the same thing and just saw red and snapped. And so thank you to you three for sharing that. And we do have enough entries here, Hive. So I'm going to go ahead and draw for the merch giveaway. After the name pops up, all you got to do is send birdie'shivemind@gmail.com, say that you are the winner. And then our lovely mods, being formerly known as Beck, Discord Dawn, Luda Bliss, and the UFO Dog, one of them will get you a link to go pick out whatever item on the Hive merch store you'd like. So here we go. Do. Mindful Hayes. Congratulations to Mindful_Hayes for being the Hive Plus merch winner. I'll tell you what, sometimes this giveaway tool does a couple people dirty. I just saw Big Forehead, Big Dreams and Care Bear. I'm like, oh, which one's it going to be? But Mindful Hayes, congratulations. You have won the merch giveaway. So go ahead, send birdieshivemind@gmail.com an email. Now, ladies, we have nothing in specific that we want to talk about other than this case. And so if there's anybody that wants to go first, the floor is yours. I will pull up anything that you need. I can search for stuff. I can, this is your guys' stream. So however you want to start, feel free. Anybody?
Ladies?
You can go first.
Okay, so I will go first. Today, it's morning. I want to talk about the game, the Psycho Killer game. Birdie's bringing the game. He's got it. Okay, so the other night we were all talking about it, and I know that a lot of people, I feel, were confused on my stance on the game. I do not believe that they were sitting around the apartment playing the actual card game. I have done a lot of deep research in the past 10 days, and I'm going to tell you what I have found out, that in Idaho at the college, they have board and card game clubs. So does WSU. I have went undercover. So if anybody's watching, they won't know because I'm not going to give them my undercover name. But I went undercover because I'm a college student at 55. So I used my college chat to connect with Idaho and WSU. And I found out a lot of good things about these games that they were playing. There was an actual psycho killer game going on in 2022 between the colleges. But for some reason in January, that game was stopped.
Are you kidding me?
I am
That's
not kidding you.
crazy.
I'm not kidding you. I thought it was crazy when the girl that I was talking to told me. She said, "Oh yeah, we used," because I went in looking for the game. Is anybody playing the game? And that's how I found out that the game used to be played, but it was stopped. Now the girl said she felt like it was stopped because of what had happened, because it would be like a reminder, and people didn't want a reminder. But I feel, and this is my personal feelings, I feel that the people that were playing it were a part of the murder. My theory
That's
is
crazy.
my theory is that Xana and Ethan were players in this game. I believe that Dylan and Bethany were players in this game, along with some other students. And I believe that they were playing against WSU. And it was interactive. It wasn't them sitting around playing the cards. I believe that cards have been pulled, and whatever cards you pulled, they interacted with it. And that gives me, that makes me understand why there was so much motion going on. There was a lot of motion going on that night because people were playing, and somehow or another, the game become real. And my question is, did Xana and Ethan even know it had become real? Could it have become real because Ethan got into a fight with someone that night at the Whites and it just carried over? Or could it be something even more demented? I've never been shy about my stance on Dylan Mortensen. I believe that she had more to do with it than just being in a shock phase or running down to Bethany's room. I believe that her and Bethany are a part of the cleanup, but I honestly believe that Dylan had a lot to do with the actual murders because there's just something in my spirit when I look at her and I look at pictures, and y'all can pull up pictures, they're everywhere, of her and the other girls. And if you look, she's smirking, she's side-eyeing these girls. I raised 4 girls. I know what jealousy is. I know what side eyes are. I'm a mother. And I look at some of these pictures, and even way before I got on the channel, me and my wife would look at them and we would say, she was jealous of them. She was mad at them. And I thought, well, maybe it could possibly be that, they just didn't have a good relationship, because sometimes roommates don't. But I think it's more than that. I think that I think the game got out of hand. I think that her and Xana got into it because whoever got into it with Ethan, I think Ethan came home that night already injured. I don't think that he was fully killed outside of the house, but I think he was injured. I think those stabs to his legs, I think somehow or another they got him to the house and laid him across the bed. And then I think someone came in to finish him off, and Xana started fighting. And I think she fought with Dylan. And then this is what's so crazy. I don't believe that Maddie or Kaylee had anything to do with the games. I think that they were just coming home from the club and walked into this and were murdered. And then they were posed upstairs in that bedroom. And I'm fixing to shock everybody on the Hive. I believe the reason they were posed the way they were, and I believe the reason that Steve Gonzalez, I can't never say that man's name. Yes. I think the reason he said that there's going to be some things that we find out that we don't like, there's going to be some things that aren't very nice. I think that Maddie and Kaylee weren't just best friends. I think they were lovers. And I think that's why they were posed in that bed that way. And only person that would want to do that, that would be so crass in doing that, I believe is Jack D. And I believe that he knew they were lovers because they probably had threesomes together.
Oh, wow.
And I believe when she broke up with him, he was horrified. That was his life. I mean, look at him. He's not that great of a looking guy, and she was beautiful. And now he's losing his girlfriend. And his girlfriend's girlfriend is going to Texas with her. But he's not. And I think he could have been one of the game players. I believe Jack Showalter was one of the game players. And now they're all gone. They're all gone from that area, and Moscow's trying to cover up everything because the college doesn't want people to know what happened because they're losing money as it is. But that's my theory. My theory is they were playing an interactive game because they did a lot of role play there. I mean, you see some of the TikToks they're role playing. So what makes it such a stretch that they would? The reason, honey, you never heard that is because I'm debuting it today on the Hive.
Yeah. Well, I think, well, and that's what I'm curious to get Sleuth or Shawley's thoughts on too. Thank you, Bellamicia, for walking us through that. I guess what I like how you started that whole explanation is, yes, let's clear this up, that they're not sitting around a table playing cards, smoking darts, and drinking whiskey in a calm environment. It's like, did they take this and make it an interactive thing? Was it a Greek life thing, right? Between houses? Who knows what it could be? I've heard of stuff like that, so I don't think that's a stretch. But Sleuth, Shawley, either of you guys want to comment on that?
I think there's a lot to that, to be honest. And, you know, obviously, Bellamicia, you always have amazing takes. I love hearing you speak about all of this. And I'm really, really sorry to hear about your personal experiences. But yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. I feel a lot of truth to that. Yeah.
And Sleuth?
Oh man. I actually think she was planning in the house. I for a reason.
Who? Dylan?
Yeah, absolutely. She's just so oddball to compared to everybody else. You know, she tries to fit in, and I remember Lakeland telling this story about how they did a prank on Dylan and ended up texting Quinn Kelly that Dylan was cheating on somebody or cheating on him with somebody. It obviously ended up being a quote unquote prank, but that just kind of led me to like, all right, maybe Erica is actually Dylan, and just kind of created the chaos. You know, the extortion from Jack D. Yeah, let me get those pictures. You know, I know you guys, like, men aren't gonna pay for pictures. Like, you're just gonna go and do it. You know,
I just think the whole language behind it too sounded. It almost was like it was sounding trying to be like a bro. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I had a huge crush on Kaylee back in high school. I don't see anybody starting off a conversation that way. The only way that I would have probably believed that it was a male in this situation would have been like, dude, she did you so dirty. Let's leak the news. Like something just straight up. I almost feel like they would say it way flatter on his face. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they would share their intent. It would be somebody that's close with them. But for it to be anonymous and sound like that, I don't think you can count a female out.
Absolutely. And I mean, Kaylee was a sleuth like the rest of us. So who's to say she didn't find out before?
True. True.
I
Very
think
true.
that's true.
Go ahead.
Oh, I think that's true. And that's I've never heard about Dylan being pranked with someone telling Quinn she was cheating. Sounds an awful lot like when Ethan got the text from Erica saying that he was being cheated on.
Yes, so if you look at the language of Eric Gower's text from Dylan, it says, "Are you driving?" question mark, or not the question mark. I can't remember at the moment. The Erica text says, "You are getting cheated on. You are getting cheated on."
The actual single letter.
So
Hmm.
the linguistics of people's text messaging and how immature somebody's brain is at that age to be texting "you are," I just
That's
if you're
crazy.
yeah.
That's a good pickup. That's a good pickup. I just saw too Misty Dewdrop. Thank you so much for the super chat. Said, in my opinion, Dylan hid an accomplice inside the house. When Bethany returned later, she was blackmailed with an ultimatum: cooperate with the ongoing cover up or be eliminated, explaining the long 911 delay. So Dylan, well, okay. So you three discuss that. I'm going to pull up a clip that I want to get your thoughts on quickly about Lakeland and about potentially Quinn. Okay, because I caught this, and I think there is people at the house that they have 100% shielded from the narrative. And when we were talking about the book that you recommended, Shelly, the
Yeah.
Maddie Mogan, when they brought up Lakeland, tell me that wasn't like a light bulb moment. They're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh my God, that's so right. Like she took videos and they
100%.
don't talk about her at all.
Yeah, I can't wait to get to that chapter on my channel. I really can't. Every day that I read another chapter, I'm like, I can't wait for everybody to see this.
Kennedy completely she tore their narrative apart. So I don't know if you guys know where 427 Walenta or 427 Taylor Avenue is. It's not the treehouse. It's further down. It's like 2 or 3 blocks down when you're going up a curve. I think Brian Eaton has a video of him driving that way. But yeah, so I think that the girls that were walking past at that like 11:16 time was actually Kennedy walking those girls back to the White's apartment, but she wouldn't go that far because she knows the party patrols are there.
That's a great take. So you don't think it could be Kaylee and Maddie necessarily, but you think it's Kennedy and who?
Kennedy, Dylan, and Lakeland.
Is there really 3 people in that film too? Like across the street, you see somebody.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good pickup. I'm trying to find this clip, but again, I'm not paying attention. I'm just trying to find it so you guys can carry on.
Well, I don't think that I see a lot of people kind of push Bethany aside, like, oh, she was brought into it. I don't believe that. Bethany is a grown woman who has a good family behind her, and she could have went home and told her family, this is what really happened, and I need help, and they would have helped her. I believe she's just as much involved in it as the rest of them. If it's only just with the cover up, she didn't have to cover it up. Nobody had to cover it up, but they did. And that's what's so crazy to me. When I look at pictures of all the girls in the different, times and things that they were doing there, one thing I noticed is Dylan is really a tall, big boned girl. I don't think that she's a man, and I hate it when people always say that about women. Oh, she's a man. They say that about Barack Obama's wife. That woman is a woman, okay?
I just want to say this. Do you think that it's because of I agree with the standpoint of the physical aspect. I don't see that argument. The only one that's been interesting though is like the testing the DNA thing that they wouldn't, like if it's her blood, that's why they won't do it, or that's why it came back male.
No, the reason that they're not testing the DNA, I believe they tested it. I don't believe that they released the testing to any of us because then we would know. I mean, look
Right.
at the lie that they told already in the beginning. If you go back to the very beginning, that man that was the district attorney that looked like Santa Claus, he stood up there and he said, oh, he was stalking them.
Yep.
Oh, his phone pinged. oh, we know for a fact that he was after them and he's an incel. But then the day that he signed his plea agreement and pled guilty, right afterwards, he had a media event where he told everyone we could not ever put Brian Koberger at the house. His phone pinged on a tower, but there were thousands of houses around that area. We did not have any. He had no evidence that he had any contact with any of the victims, but prior, he was stalking them. So, do you see how he changed his narrative?
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yes.
literally, it's hard to keep a lie going. It's so hard to keep a lie going. You got to figure out your lie. You got to find something to connect that lie to so you don't forget it. And that's exactly what Dylan did when she was interrogated 4 times. Every time she was interrogated, it was a completely different story. The very first time, she didn't even see his eyes. She couldn't tell you what color they were. She didn't say anything about him having bushy eyebrows. But what really interests me about this is she seemed to be obsessed with eyes, with all of the eyes that she had drawn and had hanging in her room. You would think that would be the first thing that she would look at and would be able to describe.
Right. And I want to clarify too. I'm not saying that I'm believing that they're not testing the DNA for that. I'm saying the argument that people have made, in addition to being maybe taller or quote unquote bigger boned, right, as you just laid out, is that, oh, well, they won't do it because it's going to come back being a male's blood, and that's just going to solidify it in their mind. I feel like you guys have heard that. That was the point I was saying.
Yeah, I've heard that. But check this out. It wouldn't matter if she was a man or a girl, transsexual, in the middle of transitioning. If they were really searching for the real killer and the blood came back to her DNA and it was her, then they would just say, oh, we have found out that this student was transitioning. We got the DNA back. They wouldn't even tell us it was male or female. They would just say the DNA came back to Dylan. But they covered for all of those people. Because the college wanted them covered. Because the college did not want to look bad. Colleges have for years covered up things. Mostly colleges covered up rapes. Women would be raped in college and they would tell them to go to the college police, and the college police would do nothing. They would go to the town police and the town police would tell them, you've got to go to the college police. This happened on campus. This went on for years. And so it's not a shock to me that the college would go to whatever extent to keep from looking bad in light of what happened. It also isn't a big extent for me to understand alumni, because I'm from Texas, where we have the University of Texas. I grew up in Austin, and one of the biggest things in Austin is alumni weekend. Alumni keeps the college going because they're the ones that boost the college with money. So you're looking at Dylan, whose stepmother is a very lucrative attorney. You're looking at Bethany, whose father is a very lucrative dentist that has more than one dental office in the state of Nevada. Jack Showalter's mother is an attorney who came into the interrogation with him. He's 21, but hey, I'm going in with my boy to make sure he doesn't mess this up. And so you're looking at these people, probably some of them are alumni that went there, and they're going to do everything they can to keep their children from going to prison the rest of their lives. So, hell yeah, Longhorns, baby, I hear you. But
I agree, Bellamicia.
I just feel that this is a big cover-up. I'm not saying that the game actually happened, but I'm saying it's a theory that could be looked at because of all of the different things that were going on that night and the next morning. You've got people walking around with latex gloves on. They talked about him having latex gloves on because he was taking the trash out. Okay, that is odd, but hey, he might have some kind of weird feeling about trash. But why is the girl walking around with latex gloves on and something wrapped in a towel?
Yeah,
running over to Jack D's house. I mean, That don't make any sense to me because you look suspicious. I don't know who the girl is. I don't know her name, but if she's watching, girl, you look so suspicious.
She really does. Let me. So I'm gonna get this up here now. Now, Sleuth, I don't know if you've seen this or not. But I'm gonna let this play one time through, okay? And then I want to get your 3 thoughts on this because what I did is all I did was just turn the volume up. So I took a screen recording from Connor.H8's video. I think this is Morris's body cam of all of the detectives talking, and I turned it way up. Okay, so there's nothing that's played with on the audio. I just screen recorded it and I turned that volume up as high as I could. So I want you all to listen and tell me how Chief Fry is explaining this, and listen closely in the beginning. Okay, so here we go. And I'm going to put us on mute so they can hear it.
That's what I was thinking too. What's that? The Wi-Fi thing. I think someone's Wi-Fi is gonna shut.
Shoot, guys, I got a clown horn myself. I spent all that time and I grabbed the wrong video, but I'll let this play anyways.
This one.
I think they're gonna see Sean about the time. So these guys talking about a dog around the 4 o'clock hour. The chick sucking by a dude around the 4 o'clock hour. And some noise. And he didn't see her. I don't know.
Yeah, the only thing I was thinking is like maybe whoever the suspect is didn't have beef or at least liked the 2 victims that he didn't go after or they didn't go after. And the rest of them were kind of,
I don't know, to have a beef with 4 people who know exactly what they're all at the same time. It seems.
See how quiet they're talking? Okay, so one of the things is those people are echoing it. That wasn't the right clip, but this is right here. So hopefully this uploads. What you're gonna hear is, and I'll just tell you what to pay attention to, and you're gonna hear these detectives talking by the trailer, and you're gonna hear them talk about. Now, there was 2 people that were at the house, and they describe it, and then they left and they went to various parties. And then he goes directly to, now let's talk about the 2 people that lived there. So it's almost like he's referring to 2 people that were at the house that left, probably Lakeland and one other, is how I interpret this. And I never caught this until after I read that book that Shawley had sent. Okay, so I will play this. I'm going to turn this way up. Here we go.
So, talking to the other 2 people that were in the house. So they all got home, different nights around the night, you know, they kind of the different parties, where the party was right across the street. The other 2 people in the house live here. One lives at the bottom of the orbit.
Did you just catch that though? See how they're talking about how they talk about 2 people, and then he says, the other 2. What do you guys make of that? Or Sleuth or Shawley? You're on mute, Shawley. There you go.
Yeah,
if you keep
crazy.
going, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No,
Shelley.
carry on. No, I was just going to say that's crazy. I hadn't heard that before. That's mad.
If you keep going, he actually says that Bethany stays in the spare room. It says the room by the front door.
To the right, you're right. Okay, I'm gonna play this whole thing. I'll play this whole thing. It's a 2-minute clip. So here we go.
So, talking to the other 2 people that were in the house. So they all got home, different nights around the night, you know, they kind of the different parties, where the party was right across the street. The other 2 people in the house live here. One lives at the bottom of the orbit, sits up this side, going to the right.
You're right.
The other one is also on the main floor, and that one potentially hasn't met her tonight. She heard something around 4 o'clock this morning. She said it was one of the victims playing the dog. That's what she thought it was. She then heard that same victim yell something to the effect of, "There's someone in the house." She opened up her door, thought she saw someone at the top of the stairs, shut her door. A little bit later, a few minutes later, she heard a female crying. She thought again it was the same victim. It may not have been, crying in the bathroom, and heard a male voice that she did not recognize saying something to the line of the effects of, "It's okay, I'm here for you." And that's what that context was. We don't know the way she made it sound. It wasn't like the guy being trying to help you or anything like that. It's more along the lines of she wasn't a friendly individual. Shut the door again. A little bit later after that, she opened up the door again and saw a male dressed in black, had a balaclava or some type of a mask over his face, standing by the back door near the slider. She claims he's Caucasian based off of the cutouts in the eyes. They made eye contact. She shut her door, and she's pretty sure that was black. And shortly after that, she called the other roommate downstairs. Said, "Hey, there's something in the house." The other roommate said, "Come down here, you can sleep with these." And she went down there. So maybe a phone call until later in the afternoon.
Yeah, the book came in at about 11:59 in his work. They called a boyfriend or a friend to come help him out. He went in, found the person, deceased female, on the second floor, armed himself with a kitchen knife, and went to clear that road. Once he realized what was going on, he called 911.
Okay, there's a couple of things. Sleuth, you're totally right on that. Hang on, let me get us back on the screen. Okay. So I think you're totally right that he says to the right. And then did you find it strange too that he said that peeked out her door and saw somebody at the top of the stairs? That
Yes.
seems like you're seeing it from the bottom floor, because that's the only stairwell that you can see to the top. If you were to peek out your door from Dylan's POV, it would say, you know, you'd maybe be like, I guess you might say top of the stairs, but wouldn't you say like, you know, at the midpoint of the stairwell?
Yes, like you would see him like coming down or going up or something, some sort of figure, something.
Yeah. And so, what do you guys think about this? Do you think that the "I'm here for you"? Do you think that this is? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, even those little details could make it's a huge difference. It's a huge difference.
Well, I don't follow the 4 a.m. timeline. Ever since we were able to get that audio, can you play the audio?
Which
you know
one?
what audio I'm talking about.
The
With
1112, the
scream?
227, or the 2?
Yes.
Yeah, I got you.
Play the audio. I want y'all to listen to this audio.
Let me pull it up. While I'm doing that, Shawley, did you have any thoughts on those subtitles or Sleuth?
So for the 226 timeline, that's when the fire dialing starts for Jack D. So for me, it would be this is the time that they lost the dog. You know, I want to walk around. Let's call Jack D to walk around with us. You know, and then I don't know what happens. I don't know where the dog goes. I don't know why there's a 17-minute phone call, but it just seems like once the dog is to Bethany, you know, Maddie comes to her and she's like, "Have you seen the dog?" And Bethany doesn't even bother to get up and be like, "No, like why would I have the dog?"
Yeah, well, it's so strange. It is so strange. And here you go, Bellamicia. I got your I got the audio for you here. Let me get it shared. Trigger warning, volume warning. I'm going to play it from 226:20. Every single time.
Now that's 3 separate screams, right?
Do you think that there's 3 screams happening there and it's not just one?
I mean, I was just listening to it and the time continued to go on and I heard a scream and then I heard a scream and I heard a scream.
I was rewinding back and forth, but I was going to say
okay,
like,
okay.
Yeah.
So you hear the scream, y'all. Okay. Now how far is the house from the camera, the door camera that picked it up? How far would you say?
I can give you I'll give you an exact amount of meters. Because I think that's powerful. How do you have any estimate how close you think it's actually going to be? Anybody want to guess?
No, I don't. I know
Here.
it's
It
not
is.
a block.
No, it's gonna be I'll do it right here. You got 22 meters. So
Okay, so 22 meters. It picked it up really well. Okay. My theory is that the person that screamed was not inside the house. I believe they were still outside the house at that time.
Mhm.
And I believe that is Xana screaming because that's when Ethan was first attacked.
where do you think they were outside?
I believe that they were right out there, probably alongside the building. You know,
Here?
not in the front where the cars are, but kind of to the side. Kind of like over there where that couch and
right
that
here.
stuff is. And I believe, you know, where the patio doors that go into the kitchen.
Yep.
I believe they were in that area when the scream happened.
Sleuth
I
or
believe-
Sholly? Do you think they were outside? Sorry, Bella. I'm just curious what they think they were outside too.
100%.
Oh yeah. Balcony and or the patio screaming at each other, whatever the situation may be.
I'm glad you said balcony because if somebody came through the sliding glass door at the top and it was open, that's another way that you could hear something sounding like it's outside.
Yeah. And so this is my theory on that. They were out there. That's why the double doors was open. That's why Xana's blood's in the kitchen. She probably helped him to get into the bedroom because you don't have to go up any stairs or down any stairs if you're on that side. You just go through the kitchen and help him lay down. And you're fighting whatever's going on. And I believe that her and Dylan become embroiled in a fight. And another thing I want to put out there is we know for a fact now, it's not an idea or a theory. We know for a fact from the autopsy reports that none of those kids was killed with a K-bar.
Right.
There were 2 knives that were described in the autopsy reports, which are official reports. One is a double-edged knife like a dagger. One is a single-edged knife with a rounded square, which would be like a kitchen knife. It said it had some serration to it. So those are the 2 knives that were used. So the K-bar right now should be off of everybody's mouth unless they're talking about the sheet that was planted, because you've got someone saying that the sheet was on the floor and then you got the picture of the sheet being pushed up under Maddie's leg, but it doesn't disturb the blood that's up under it. How did the blood get up under it if it was already laying there? That's the question without it having that blood on it. It just has a little spray of blood.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a plant. They planted that. Who planted it? The police did. Because the police are the ones that first brought it up. Because the first batch of police came, and I don't think that they knew anything. I think that they were like, oh my God, this is what's happened, blah, blah, blah. And then the police that were embroiled in the cover-up come and took over. And that's who you need to look at.
I agree that I think the sheath has a very, very, very high likelihood of being planted. And I want to kind of change a little bit of topic here, just because I know, Shawley, you'd sent me some stuff. You have a channel now, which is awesome. So I have that here for everybody. This is Shawley Redacted's page. And Shawley, do you want to give a little bit of, I guess, an insight as far as what it is that you're doing?
Yeah, so I used Pajamas Audio. I'm not going to say her full name because I don't like calling her that. Bless her, she's
I don't
lovely.
either.
But yeah, I used Pajamas Audio, and I lined it up as well. My husband lined it up as best as we could with the videos. And I'm just gonna let it play. And just we've put on there the subtitles of what we hear. Disclaimer: anybody that's wearing headphones, it does get quite loud because we've managed to get the scrubbed audio. So yeah, if you're wearing headphones, just be careful.
Yes, and also too, Shawley, it's super exciting. You got 5 videos, and you recently just made this. You're also doing a reading for anybody that has not bought the Already Inside Maddie Mogan's Last Message to the World. You've been reading that. And then obviously you have this. Do you have this video posted? Yeah, obviously, because we have it pulled up here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will listen to this. It's 12 minutes. It's a little bit longer, but Shawley, I mean, Sleuth and Bellamicia, are you both? I just want to make sure I'm checking in. Are you all okay with us listening to this and just kind of then having a big discussion about it?
100%.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. You guys rock. And then, so I'll put this full screen. I'll turn us on mute. And that way, if you have headphones and you turn it up, I won't blow your eardrums out. So, all right, I'll start that now. I'm just gonna stop this. I know that the ladies are backstage. I want to replay this. I think that this clip of the audio, and then I'm gonna play the rest of it. I think that this clip of the audio is so important. To me, this sounds like Hunter Chapin crying. You hear people telling Ethan, breathe, breathe, get him up, Ethan, breathe. And then I hear, you were my brother. I feel like it could almost sound like, is Hunter like embracing his dying brother? Or if it's Pete, right? I don't know who it is. I thought Hunter, but my point is, it's saying that Shawley, I don't know if you have any comments. I know you're backstage, you can hear this, but I'll play it again.
Yeah, I'm just going to tell you after we've watched this.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. I'm going to play this now. That was just my 2 cents. I'm going to go back because I think this part is so important.
It's pretty much just background noise at this point from here on. You're muted, Birdie.
Thank you. What I was going to say is there was a couple questions in the chat. Sholly, can you re-explain kind of what it is that you and your husband had done here?
Yeah, so when we heard Pajamas audio, there was a couple of things that we picked up on, which we obviously put on the subtitles there. And I think, personally, my opinion, I think that it was Ethan and a group of males and females that were singing Country Roads. I think they were outside, they were walking up the road, they were singing the song, and then you can hear at one point, whoa, Ethan. And I think that at that point he stumbled or he fell, and then get the hands. I don't know if that was, as we put on there, a fight, or if it was grab his hands, we've got to carry him back to the house kind of thing. And then you hear Zana, which I think is she's gone, this is too much, and she's walked off, run off, whatever, and they're trying to get Ethan back to the house. I think that piece of audio is where it all starts.
You think that's the beginning of it?
100%. I think Bellamicia is completely correct with the fact that there was fights earlier, and that some of the injuries that Ethan had were from the fights earlier in the day or in the evening. But I think that's where the actual crime started. It's horrible. It's really, really horrible, and I'm sorry that I've had to put everybody through that.
No. I think the best part about the audio is we're far enough along in diving into this case. I don't know what your 3 takes are on this. My take on it is I think we've done this enough times where if you can't accept, people are going to hear different things. Okay. They are. We're going to all hear different stuff. But what it does is it's interesting. There's only a few things that it could sound like. So at least you're hearing the handful of things that it could be. And then what we're really good at doing it here is we allow ourselves to think through all of them. So is it Koberger go? Is it cover her go? Is it right? Is it get right, see you next Tuesday, or get right, like that's a big distinction. And so
I think the essential aspect of what's going on here is not lost on anybody, apart from obviously MPD, but let's not go there. But I think personally that it all started outside, and as we said on the audio, there are points where it gets louder and it gets quieter, as though they're getting closer and further from wherever this audio is being picked up from. And just after the hands thing, you can hear the audio getting quieter and quieter and quieter, as though they've picked him up and they're walking towards the house.
So let me pull this up here. So this is back in 2022. So Bellamicia, you were saying that some of this stuff might be happening right around here. Sholly. So obviously we have this is the light bulb camera. It's facing this way for people that don't know. So if I change the tilt, sometimes I think that for whatever reason, or not the tilt, the heading, for whatever reason, this angle, I don't know why, my brain can process this angle better. I don't know if it's because it's the angle of the camera. So, where do you think this is happening? I mean, if it's inside, right? It's ridiculous that we have people walking here, knowing that this is only 20 short meters away, and that nobody turns and listens.
Yeah, I think that the initial bit that we're hearing, the whoa Ethan and all of that, is happening just in front of where that white car is. So to the right hand side, on the road there. I don't think it's far from the house at all, but it is definitely outside in the street. And I think you can hear, as I say, that get his hands or get hands. And I think that's where they're picking him up and then they're walking him back to the house. And I think then someone went and got Xana, and she was like, we've got to call the police, and then it really escalated.
Sleuth, any thoughts on that, or Bellamicia?
I do have thoughts on that. I do. Can you pull it up, the picture up closer?
Yep. Let me go
Make
ahead
it, make it closer. Or, there we go. Okay. So she said right around the white car. Okay, that's the white car. And then you would just keep going down towards the house. Okay. So I believe that it could have been happening right behind the house where the white car is.
Right
And I
behind
believe
this house?
no. You see the
This
white
house.
car, go back to the white car. Now go straight down the street and take a left.
So
Right
here.
in there. Right in that area, I believe that it could have been happening because they wouldn't be in the middle of the street. Because, like you said, up here, there's people up here, so they're you can hear them, but you don't know exactly where they're at because you can't see them because they're behind this house. But I believe that was at the point where Ethan was actually injured. If you look at the autopsy pictures, the autopsy pictures show that he was stabbed in the back of his legs, the side of his, I want to say it was the right leg 3 times. I believe that his leg injuries happened then. I believe that the other injuries that actually took his life happened once he was laying on the bed and they were trying to figure out what to do. He was already incapacitated. He had probably lost a lot of blood from the leg injuries alone. And I believe that. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, going back to, for whatever it's worth, that 4chan rumor. Remember how I had made an edit of when Sammy T Mafia was on, of us reading that post where it said, what's going on with the guy who was walking his dog that apparently called 911 because they saw somebody who had passed out in the front yard. And people have said that, well, that's not a yard, that's a driveway. Well, technically, I mean, wouldn't you consider this like landscaping area here a yard? And so that's what popped into my head when you just said that, Bellamicia, that maybe it's not in the road per se, but it could be spilling over into this area almost here.
I'll tell you the only reason I thought it could be the road is because of the MPD reenactment, because obviously they see something, but it could well be that Ethan is on the yard and there are people in the road watching what's going on. That could well be the case.
Well, I think... Oh, go ahead. I was just going to ask Sleuth, any thoughts on like the positioning of it, just while I got this marker up so I could draw on it.
I thought like behind the house, what Wally calls like the courtyard, up that hill in that little like cul-de-sac where all those cars park. Yeah.
Right there.
Yep.
Okay. So, I mean, all of them are reasonable. Like there's parts of it for each of them. Like Shawley, what you said makes sense because you see the MPD footage. They stop. There's 2 or 3 cars here that stop. And I had actually said on stream before, I'm like, that to me makes sense if it's happening, kind of somewhere in this area, right? Bellamicia and Sleuth, both of yours make sense from a standpoint of, okay, so we got a guy who is, walking up the street and he's going in here and there's no looking back. There's nothing. You got the girls who, walk inside. They don't say anything. So the Sleuth, to me, like up here, that would be the only way that they probably, if they did hear it, they wouldn't see it. I guess technically here too.
Maybe, and maybe there were people in the road outside 1122 that were, that knew what was happening and they were in the road and that's why the cars stopped, perhaps. It wasn't actually the attack that they were seeing, yeah.
People are, it's bystanders. There's just bystanders in the road.
Right.
Okay, so on this little map, go back to the map, Bertie.
Yep.
Now, can you put, where's the house the girls are coming out of with the towels and they're on the ring cam and
they are going to be right here.
Okay. Now, where's Jack DeCour's house?
Right here.
Okay.
And that girl
So,
does this.
yes. Okay. Now, go back down to where I said the fight happened. Okay. Now, if you go up to where the girls are from and you draw a line and go backwards to where I say the fight happened.
Yep.
Okay. That's why it is so easy for them to be involved. The police reenactment, let me tell you about the police reenactment. I believe that they just did that reenactment so they could alter video. I think that the true video, people did see people in the street because I believe that there were people in the street, but I don't believe that the fight happened there. I don't believe that's where Ethan was stabbed. I believe that the people that were in the street were watching it. Could have been some of the girls that were screaming. Could have been some of the girls in that house. And they knew what happened.
I want to show you all, just because we got this visual up here. And then Sleuth, I want to give you a chance to pull up the stuff that you had sent me. So, but if I detach this, right, we get like an ultra wide screen, which I'm doing my best here. This is Sigma Chi over here. Okay. So my screen can only go so wide when I'm displaying it. But let's say, right, this is at that time was what, 1 o'clock, 1:15, right, Sholly?
Yeah, it was roughly
Okay.
1:16.
So let's just say that this is Sigma Chi, and let's just say that they are, walking across, or if they did loop around, but at some point they're kind of converging and they're going through this cut through, right? By the whites, that area. This makes a whole hell of a lot of sense for when we see cars that pull in and maybe they had turned up and looped around and they're either sitting here, right? And then if people are walking up those steps, it could start right there.
Yeah.
And it
Absolutely.
could go into that area here. Like, I think that this area is so important, or this front driveway thing is so important.
I've always thought so because of the sorry to cut you off, but the bit of
No,
wall
you're good.
in the
You're
front, the bit of wall in the front that was knocked down. It's, that's always struck me, and I don't know. Yeah, that just
Hang
it
on.
seems like a struggle
bit of
happened there.
wall?
Yeah, the front of 1122, there was a bit of wall to the right hand side as you're looking at the front door that was dislodged. Not in a way that you would think a car had gone into it or anything, but in the way of maybe there was a struggle and it was a bit loose and it fell off.
Hang on, I'm going to try to find a picture. Are you talking about the retaining wall on the right hand side of the house if you're staring at the front door, the bottom floor? Yeah, I've seen that. Let me just try to find a quick picture here. I'm looking on Google.
And having had old brick walls myself, I know that you don't have to have a car drive into it for it to fall down if it's old and the grout's gone.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Where was Maddie's jacket found?
Maddie's jacket would have been found right here. Let me show you. So Maddie's jacket. Okay, so I'll give a brief overview again. Okay, kind of a super high level. I'll put it full screen. Okay, so super high level, we have the Linda Lane dumpster cam where my cursor is now. Okay, we have the Linda Lane car park footage, King Road light bulb camera. So if you go in like a line, you go light bulb camera where the victims were found, car park, dumpster cam. Now, this is the street that Maddie's jacket was found on. There's a fire hydrant. I actually think I should be able to do the street view. So the fire hydrant is right here.
Is that the white?
Yep, that's the whites. This is where the plainclothes party patrol, the only night that year that they caught those kids on the band field that we saw right here, was parked.
Of course.
Yep.
Okay, let me ask you a question. There was blood found on the jacket?
No, I don't believe that was found on that jacket. I thought it was the one that they doused in the whatever that chemical is, the greenish yellow one. But there was blood up here.
Yep.
Up where?
Up in this white apartments, and I think I have a photo of it.
Who did they say whose blood it was?
No.
Nope.
It could have been when the first began, when it was just a scuffle. Maybe somebody was bleeding. But getting back to the jacket, this is my idea on the jacket. I think the jacket was there in the apartment, and someone grabbed the jacket and put it on to cover their bloodied shirt. And they walked down the street, and then they dumped the jacket because they didn't want to take it with them, but they needed it to get past all the people.
That is a good take.
Because why else would her jacket be? Why would her jacket be down there? Someone had to take it down there. They didn't just take it down there and throw it. I think they literally, it was a female. I think that she put it on and she walked down the street. And when she got right there, because you're showing bushes, that'd be the perfect place just to take it off and drop it and then go into your apartment.
Yeah.
Yep. This is them finding it right here.
And if they were all in the apartments and they were doing all of the partying and stuff, then I really feel that in those apartments there is some people that were involved, and they haven't said anything because it was being covered up. There's some people that are patting themselves on the back right now saying, I missed a bullet.
Yep. All right, Sleuth, let's give you some time here. You got the floor, Sleuth. What do you got for us?
All right. So the house 1112, the house next to it, the long one where we see all the guys coming in and out with the tubs and the truck, that is a house full of Alpha Kappa Lambdas.
Hang on, let me just make sure that I can pull this up. So I want people to be able to visualize this for us. So
absolutely.
Okay, here we go. So I got let me get the right screen shared. Okay, so now we are in 2022. Okay, so talk us through this here.
All right, so the very long house right here, I think it's 118, right? 1118.
Yes, this one right here.
Yeah, that is a house full of Alpha Kappa Lambdas. The Alpha Kappa Lambdas are also the Banfield boys. Okay, and this connection is gonna get real wild.
Okay.
Okay. So the couple of years that before Maddie moved in with like the girls before the roommates now, that the 2022 roommates, right? They were a house full of guys. And one of the guys in there that I have found, and the other people have helped me find, he's an Alpha Kappa Lambda, which is the fraternity right next to Sigma Chi. So that's where the Banfield boys are going. They are going to Alpha Kappa Lambda. They're not going to
right.
That's it right
here.
There. Yep. And so a really wild connection is that Lake Campbell and Steve G. Jr. were in Alpha Kappa Lambda together.
Oh, wow.
But at the time of the murders, Taylor Parker Hill, Peter Reagan, and Ethan Knight, they were part of that fraternity, as well as President Green's son, Nick. So
Wow.
while everybody else has their headset on the deltas and the betas, mine has always been on these Alpha Kappa Lambdas, because Caden Young was an Alpha Kappa Lambda, and he was the one that was found, obviously, the way that he was, and then they ended up finding, from what I understand, a lot of drugs in his apartment. So
just to clarify, so the 1118, the Banfield runners that we have seen many times, right, with Rosie and them, so that people can follow along. You're saying that they are coming from this house, which is the long house right to the left of the light bulb camera. Those kids probably cut down.
See,
No,
I
no.
don't think they're coming from that house. They are just connected.
Oh.
That the Dodge that pulls around after all the screaming, all the diesel,
Okay.
he's an Alpha Kappa Lambda. So where that Dodge came from, I have no idea, but I have a feeling it came out of the White's parking lot because Conrad Harrison said that there was a party of Alpha Kappa Lambdas at the White's apartment and they were hanging out with the G5s, which is the people in the 1112 house.
Have you ever heard of this theory?
Yes.
Because that one's crazy. Somebody did some really good work, and I screenshotted their thumbnail because I haven't ever gone down this rabbit hole, but they went as deep as, like, if you look at the headlights and the sides of them, and this is Dylan's father.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on the black truck being Dylan's dad?
Well, see, I think it's the Moyes.
Okay.
I don't know what they're doing. I don't know why they're moving around a bunch. They seem to know a lot more than they should early on. I understand the barking, but there's like a lot of dogs in that area. It's not just Murphy barking. 1112 has dogs in there. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who have dogs in that area.
True, very true.
Including the Moyes.
Okay, so then you were sorry, and I didn't mean to distract you. So you were getting to the point though where you were saying that that Steve G and somebody else was also a part of the Lambdas.
Yes, correct. So I haven't proven that Steve G Jr. lived in the in the house with Lake Campbell at the same time, but Lake's dad is married to Emma's best friend's mom. So Emma Bailey, yes.
Yep.
And actually Lake's real mom, she works as a professor of art and design at the University of Idaho. From what I understand, the Alpha Kappa Lambdas, they do a lot of fundraisers. They do a car beating fundraiser where you just come and you get the hammers and you start beating the cars away and stuff. Do a lot of stuff with the agriculture.
You were also telling me that there was what was the thing that you were telling me when we were texting? It was right after you had said about that they do the car beating. There was like a hand painting, but then you had also sent me some really interesting videos as well.
Yes, these hands don't haze.
Yes, that's what it was.
I don't know why, but I was just scrolling and I saw these handprints where they all have on blue gloves. They take paint and they put their little handprints on the window for these hands don't haze thing. And then I remember the handprint on the window of the courtyard, like balcony area in the back, like by the back slider. And that just flipped me out.
Well, that is crazy. And so here, let me pull up the I'll pull up the handprint, which is also wild that the White Elantra, right? The White Elantra's got this damn handprint all over it too. And so let me try to show people this. But so now, I mean, that's just a weird, crazy coincidence, I guess. That there's handprints all over, but we obviously have seen the handprint on the back door or the back window. And so here, this is it. This is the document. It's so funny. My title name is "If I Was the FBI from Day One." This was my TikTok document for live digs. So here it is though. I have all these saved. This is trippy. So I had done this where there's a handprint on the crashed White Elantra in Eugene, Oregon. And then you could see the reflection of the good vibe sign. And I lined these hands up and it is a spot on match.
Whoa.
I mean, that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like, look at the long fingers.
That's insane.
I'll zoom in so people can see it better. Right where like the pressure point too of like your palm imprints. So anyways, and then Sleuth, if you want to, can you also just talk through again just the connections with, you had said everyone's focused on the delts, and I think that's because in the interviews the cops are always talking about them like slinging coke, but you don't necessarily believe that, right?
So
not the coke part, but that it was just them.
Man, there's a lot of Venmos, all right, around these kids, and they're not real smart about it. They'll put like blowjob or, you know, a pizza slice or whatever. So every single one of those fraternities has a plug, but who their other plug is, I have no idea. And I mean, I would assume, you know, everybody says Emma Bailey and Demetrius and them. So I don't know. It's just always
for sure.
It comes full circle. I don't think that by any means Caden was their first victim. I think I truly believe that Hudson Lindo was now their first victim.
So explain that. Why do you believe that?
So everything seems to connect back to Boise. Dylan's from Boise. We got her little friends Riley and Bridget. You've got Lyndon Beck. He's from Boise. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. No, don't worry about it. I've got to put it on the spot.
John Showalter. I mean, all of them. Like, there's so many weird connections back to Boise, you wouldn't even believe it, including Hudson.
Well, and I want to. So I'm just also too, Sleuth. Just so you guys know what I'm doing here, chat is Sleuth sent me a bunch of stuff that I thought uploaded to my slides, and they didn't. So I'm just doing that, and so there's I want to find that handprint one. It is just so odd. I don't know if you guys can see this. I'll put myself full screen here for a second. I mean, look at they're doing, these hands don't haze. Son of a, I can never figure this out. These hands don't haze, and they're putting literal handprints on the glass windows, like what we see in the photos. I mean, how weird is that? I think it's weird.
I absolutely do think it's weird.
Like, what a
That's crazy.
weird, distinct logo to say for hazing. Okay, so
Like
anyways,
putting an X on someone's door.
Yes. So Bellamicia, thank you, Sleuth. While I get this pulled up, Bellamicia or Shawley, anything that you guys want to?
I just wanted to say that we were just talking. Y'all were just talking about everyone that's from Boise, and just a FYI moment. One of the things that I have found in my research over the Psycho Killer game is Boise, Idaho has one of the biggest Psycho Killer reenactment games going on right now, and has been being played since 2020 when it started because of the epidemic.
Wow.
They have private game clubs there that reenact these games, and I didn't give it too much attention because it was in Boise. It didn't have anything to do with the college. But now finding out that all those different people that are involved in this somehow or another from Boise, they could have very well brought the game with them.
And there's the largest self-identified group of vampires apparently too out in that area, which is just so wild to me.
Hey, vampires playing Psycho Killer.
Yeah,
incels,
you're
walking
cooked.
around at night watching the stars.
I mean, oh my God, that's just crazy. So, okay, here we go. Sleuth, thank you for the patience on this. I apologize. Here we go, guys. So, Sleuth, you have like a 2-minute clip here. This is, from my understanding, this is just drone footage that the Lambda frat put out, right? And there's no sound on this, I don't think. So if you want to talk through it and explain, the floor is yours.
Oh gosh.
Well, it's just, I think you were doing this to show just the proximity of
Yeah.
everything.
I recognize vehicles and spots. I mean, they're a wild fraternity for sure. They got some pretty wild videos out there. I think this video would really help a lot of people see. They would recognize pictures, like you know, where these kids are actually hanging out and why they don't ever mention this fraternity specifically.
And that's a great view right there. I mean, look at how close that is.
I mean,
where did you get all this footage? Just random TikToks and stuff?
No, it's on their page. It's on
Oh, Jesus.
It's like it's like a brotherhood video or whatever.
I mean, it looks fun. Like, it really does. They like, oh, there's a, oh, jeez. I didn't even know it. Was that what I just thought it was on there?
Yeah.
That wasn't, there was no
Yes,
actual
Birdie, it
titties out.
was.
Well, hopefully the YouTube gods didn't see that.
Wash your eyes, everybody.
Yeah. You got to redact those titties.
Oh, snap a ladder.
That was actually pretty good there.
I want to redact Pissy's name.
All right, we got to get Pissy Pajamas a new name.
We can just call her PJ.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Somebody said, Birdie, really? I didn't know that the cover was on there. That's why I said we had a caller last night that their name was Redact My Tits or something like that. So honestly, these houses, like if I put myself back at like my college age, like the houses look a lot of fun.
They really do.
Yeah. Like they probably get after it. And so that was one. And then you have another clip here of Conrad Harrison's interview from the 14th of December in 2022. And do you want me to just play this, Sleuth?
Yeah, I mean, he just talks about, you know, Ethan, what he was wearing that night and kind of what he was drinking. So I just noticed a couple of things around the house and just kind of put it together.
Okay, I'll let this one play.
And then from there, I remember talking to him. He said, "Hey, you know, you got to try this new flavor, strawberry banana." And I was like, "That sounds terrible." And then I remember making fun of his jersey because he was wearing a Steelers jersey because it was Santa's, and he's a Seahawks fan. And I was like, "Why are you wearing a Steelers jersey? You're a Hawks fan." And he was like, "I know it sucks, but it's whatever.
That jersey in the room is so weird. Love the graphic. And then you had this one now. We'll go there, Sleuth. So you look at the background here. You obviously see this photo. If you just want to give a quick.
So yet I do know that they are a Judeo-Christian Greek fraternity, whatever. But I just thought Gramilla sent me the Star of David, and she was like, "There's also gangs that have this symbolism in their life." And so I was like, "Oh yeah, send it to me." And I put it together, and then I guess I sent you also the 5-point principles of what the star meaning is.
Yes. I don't, for whatever reason too, whenever I saved your photos, they like uploaded, but they don't show up. So that's,
oh good Lord.
I mean,
Sorry.
No, it's not on you. It's on me. Do you know it off the top of your head by chance?
I do not, but I can just look in our messages.
Well, and while you're looking that up, I was just going to say, one of the things that I've really, I would probably say since about 20, like for whatever reason, COVID time, having a lot of time on my hands, being stuck in my house, watching so many like rabbit hole type documentaries. The symbolism thing is something that has stayed with me over the last 5-6 years. And the whole, they have to put it in your face because of the law of karma or the rule of karma. I do believe that there are power dynamics that it's like people say it's a really big club and we're not in it. I think though that it's a normal thing to have like a logo, right? Like we have the Hive logo, we have, you know, the NPC signs, the conspiracy theorist things. So it's like if you saw my logo, right? I mean, you're going to know it's associated with us because you tune in. And to think that that would only be applied for like, you know, things that aren't nefarious is crazy because it's a brand. It's a brand. It essentially at the end of the day, these logos are branding for their group. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. I have it here for whenever you're ready.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, it's just the 6 points of the star represent a gang's foundational tenets: love, life, loyalty, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding.
Wow.
So
That's trippy. I think that all that stuff, though, is always interesting. The hard part for me is that when you really understand symbolism, you have to know a lot of history. You know what I'm saying? You have to know the origins and the roots of a lot of groups. And don't forget that while, yes, today we talk about Greek life as it's a networking party house or a party club, essentially, it's a network that you join in college. You have to remember the roots of it. Right now it's transitioned into modern day era stuff. But, you know, even with a lot of the rushing stuff and what they do to pledges, like all of that, there's like tradition is a real thing.
absolutely. Bellamicia, Shally, do you guys have anything to say?
I always have something to say.
I'm curious. I want to know.
Well, I like the way that you're going because, I mean, that whole little area, when you're looking at that map and you're seeing and you're actually understanding who lives where and what their connection is to the other person. If you understand that, then you understand that that's why it was so easy to keep this quiet, because everyone is connected to the college. Everyone has skin in the game. Do they want to lose their future?
Yep.
Do they want to get involved? Some of those students are still in school there, and some are already graduated. But the fact of the matter is, that was a little world unto itself. And they could have been playing a game, or they could have just gotten drunk at these parties. It could have been a million different reasons why this happened, but it happened and it was covered up. And that's one thing that I will never get past, is how they can cover up what happened to these kids. And they can put a man in jail that I don't believe is the actual killer. And they did it so easily.
If you think about that too, Bellamy, to your point of what I got on screen here, this is the perimeter of the crime scene. I believe every single player damn near is in this loop, in this circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
It's all going to be right in here. I mean, so to your point, I think you said it very well of the look at how small that perimeter really is. They can keep that contained.
Very much so. And what my question is to Moscow is, who thought that it would be smart to bring a man from another college that didn't know any of those people? There's no connection with him and them anywhere in that area, and blame him. And I always keep thinking about all those cars parked in front of the house. You would really have to be hyped up on some real dope to think that you could go in that house. You don't know who all's in there. I mean, there's a lot of cars there. And you're going to go in there and you're just going to start killing people, and you're going to do it in what, 7 to 11 minutes, and clean up and vacuum and tip your hat at good old Dylan as you walk out the door? No, that's not what happened. And I think that we're getting close to what happened. I think that all the people that are actually spending their time to research this, we're eventually going to know what happened. but I don't think it's going to help him. And I don't think that it's going to change anything because they're not open for it. A lot of people say that they act like the case is no longer open. People, the case is no longer open. It closed when he signed that plea agreement. This case is closed. They don't have to retest any DNA. They don't have to send nobody out to talk to anybody. In their area, in the law, it is legally closed because he took that plea agreement. So everything we're doing now, we're doing to find the truth. But at the end of the day, it's going to take God to change this because he's stuck there. And I pray every day that that man isn't killed by Steve G, because I believe that he will have him killed. And it's very easy to pay people in prison to do things like that. Even the guards are dirty. I'm from Texas, where you read in the paper all the time how guards are taking in phones, taking in drugs, taking in all kinds of stuff. Money talks. This is the perfect case for it. Money talked. Money changed the Chapins. They lost a son, a triplet, mind you. And I saw a thing where she was talking and the man and the father was talking, and they was like, well, we're down to 2 now. So now we have twins. No, you have triplets and one's dead.
Yeah, I've always thought that comment is, it's just, again, and then there's always, the only thing though, like Bellamicia, that it's so hard to counter is because there's like a realness factor of like well, everybody grieves differently, which we know, but it just, when I've never heard somebody say that, ever.
I think that that's just a piece of bullshit. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
When people say, oh, well, people grieve differently. Let me tell you something. People do grieve differently, but you don't write your kid off because you're grieving differently.
No, not at all.
True.
That was your son. And the people that where he worked did more in his memory than his own family. They came up with the little tulips that I think is a beautiful idea because the man that he worked for said he was a wonderful guy. He didn't say, oh, well, that's one less employee. Moving on. And Steve G, I just don't have any respect for him. I don't have respect for a man that doesn't take care of his responsibilities. He has a whole daughter that he's ignored and treated like shit. And I don't have any respect for him at all. And then I've saw a lot of different little articles where he wasn't helping Kaylee. The grandmother was. And he was out there ready to get that $6,500 from her. Because evidently they had money problems until she died. And that's sad.
It's weird because, look, I've been streaming now every day for a year and some change, right? I think the first full year that I did outside of weekends, I don't know if I went longer than 2 or 3 days without doing a stream. And even with that much time on air talking about this, I still have that thought in the back of my head with the social dynamics of the families to be like, I want to be respectful, but I don't feel the respectful fear. Like, I know I'm going to be respectful. I still have that hesitation of it's been beat into my head that it's shame. I don't want to sound like I'm doing that when I know that I'm not, but I know how easily people will take that and interpret it. But it's to the point that you mentioned, Bellamicia. There is that fallback of people are grieving, but when you have never seen that in grief, ever. And you know what I'm saying? It's just, I don't know how to put it into words. I know that I'm not shaming them, but I'm also like, by saying that that's weird, I'm not saying that they shouldn't be able to grieve either. I'm just saying that's very strange. And that stands out when you add on all the other things.
And you're right. And I don't think that I'm trying to victim shame. I think that's another piece of bullshit too that people come up with when they hear the truth and they don't want to face it. Victim shaming. Oh, we were victim shaming Dylan and Bethany. First of all, they weren't victims. They weren't attacked. They did not come under any kind of injury. victims are injured. Victims are put in my daughter was a victim.
True.
Okay.
Yes.
There were other little girls walking with her. They're not surviving victims. They were just the little girls walking with her from school. Those girls in that house, even if they didn't have anything to do with it, they weren't victims.
Well, that's why, again, there was a little bit of confusion. Sholly, going back to your book about the Maddie Mogan's book, right? There was a little bit of confusion, and I cleared it up the following day, and I'm glad that people had said, well, Bertie, the burglary charge in the state of Idaho is when you enter somebody's house in general, right? So if you murdered people in the house, they're going to put the burglary charge on there. Now, I don't know how Idaho would work or if it's common for murder charges, but if you were to take a plea, would it be unusual for them to drop the lesser charges? But what did the burglary charge? Right. Well,
I can tell y'all about plea agreements because I took one.
Well,
when I shot that man, I was charged with attempted murder. I was charged with aggravated kidnapping because he was in the trunk of my car. And I was charged with burglary because I stripped him of his clothes. And I was looking at a life sentence for a rapist of a child.
That's crazy.
And
you got more time.
I had a great attorney who saw me on television and came to the jail, and they had kept me in the jail for like 48 hours, just in a room, not even a cell, but in a room with like a little bench. And I'm just sitting there because I won't talk. I'm waiting for somebody. Somebody's going to send my attorney, but this man showed up. And so they took me to him, and he's a very well-known attorney in Texas. And he told me that he saw me on TV and wanted to help me. And so I listened to him. And right up until I was supposed to go to court, they were, saying all these horrible things about I was going to go and do all this time in prison. And Texas is a very racist place. My children are mixed heritage, and I honestly didn't feel that my daughter was getting the justice that she deserved had she been a different race. And my attorney said, just let them talk. The day before they did jury selection, he came to me and he said, they're offering you 8 years flat. You'll never get out of prison. You'll do the whole 8 years, but at least you'll know that's what you're doing. If we go to court, they could give you life.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
In that moment, here in 8 years, was there a sense of relief? Was there a sense of thank God? Was there a sense of that's bullshit? I shouldn't be doing any time as to what they did with my daughter? Like, how would you describe that?
Well, there was never a time where I felt relief. I never felt relief because from the time I walked away from that prison, that hospital, I never saw my daughter again until she was almost 19 years old.
Wow.
And I had other children, and they were adults. But that's a whole nother story. I never saw them again until they were grown. And so when he came to me, I calculated what was I willing to deal with. I could have took my chances, but I know Texas. And so I took the plea agreement. I was guilty, first of all. I mean, I got pulled over and the man was still in my trunk. Okay. So I'm not one of those people that's going to sit here and say, oh, I wasn't guilty.
Yeah.
I was guilty.
Right.
AF.
Right.
But I wasn't guilty because I was this evil person. I was guilty because I lost my freaking mind in that hospital. I lost my freaking mind thinking all the years that I had done everything I could to keep my children away from that, because I grew up in a household where I was sexually molested until I left at 14. I felt like, how did this happen? When I never had men at my house. I never dated and had men come over. I worked hard. I gave my children everything that they could possibly want. I owned my own house. My children were great, but the only thing is I worked too much. But I was a single mom, and so I just worked and gave to them and made their life better. And in between then, there's a person that's watching us, and he takes advantage. He don't take advantage of my older daughters. He takes advantage of my baby. And so I lost my mind.
Yeah. Well,
And if I'd have had someone that was standing there that would have said, hey, we're going to do this, but I didn't. So I took it into my own hands because I remember thinking to myself when I was pregnant with my very first daughter, I'll never let nothing happen to you. And I felt that way about all my kids. And so when it happened to my youngest daughter, the first thought in my mind was, I'm going to find out who did this and I'm going to kill this son of a bitch.
As I think 100% of people would most likely.
And
Definitely.
then on the good side, I want y'all to know this. When I did make it down to the prison, I didn't have no problems. I didn't have none.
Right.
There were
You
people
knew
there
what you
that
did.
knew me, because I lived in Austin and I wasn't that far from Gatesville. And there were people that would come to my club that I owned. It was really well known, and they would enjoy themselves there. So when I showed up at the prison and it had been televised, there were people saying, if it had been me, I'd be here too. I had
Right.
no problems. Even the warden told me, I don't suspect I'll have any problems with you, and put me right
Oh,
in the
it gives
law
me
library
chills,
because
dude.
I was a paralegal. And so I didn't have to go out and work on the whole squad. I didn't have no problems with the people that worked there. I didn't have no problems with the women that was there because I guess some of them thought I was crazy. What I
Well,
did have a problem with was my self-guilt of knowing that my children were out there in foster care and that I wouldn't see them again until they were adults. And I fought, and I never signed they used to send me paperwork all the time saying, oh, your children could be adopted. Here, sign your parental right. I never signed my parental rights away because I wasn't going to do that. I wanted them to know I never wanted that to happen. But the fact of the matter is, when they gave me that plea agreement, I knew that in 8 years, I'd be done. I didn't have to wait. I didn't have to wonder. I knew I wasn't going to see parole and they weren't going to be fickle with me and tell me to come back. I knew in 8 years, they were going to open that gate, give me $100 check and tell me, get on. And that's what happened.
Well, I just think that I appreciate it's not just with you, Bellamicia, because there's so many people in here that have gone through similar stuff that I think it provides, great perspective. You got a lot of love coming in here from the chat and a lot of people agreeing
Thank
with
you
you.
all, chat. I love all of y'all too.
Yeah, no,
Absolutely.
it's great. Now, not to just totally take a 90-degree turn here, but what I want to do here is my dog's on the roof, so I'm going to play Shawley's audio quickly again, okay? And not necessarily the whole thing, but then I want to get your thoughts. And Sleuth, I know this is something that you and Luna and I have kind of been floating out there. It's at the 12:25 time period. I see this car that does a U-turn right back in this area. Okay, so at 12:25, right when the footage starts from the 1112, you'll see this reflection of a U-turn happen like right here.
Yeah, I've noticed
and
that.
It sticks out to me, and I have a little bit of a working theory that I think would be fun to finish out this roundtable and kind of think out loud if you three are down. That sound good?
Definitely.
Okay, so let me get Shawley's video back up, which again, guys, go show Shawley and her husband some love. I'm surprised that was the username that you did, Shawley Redacted, not Dylan's a wanker. But this is
Dylan's a wanker girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't know that. I love that. I love you, Shawley.
So this is Shawley's page. She just started this page, so here's her username. And this is the video that Shawley had sent me right here. So I will play this. I'm going to put us on mute, and I'll BRB. Can you guys hear that okay? Sleuth?
I can.
Okay. Okay, so whoops. I want to go back and I want to list the one thing. I know that we have people that are in EMS here. Okay, if this is, I'm gonna just go through the lens of this is a medical emergency play, right? At some point, like the fight led to a medical emergency. Maybe some people were there. Do you guys hear where he kind of says like get the net? Where that guy? Do you hear that part? Like right here. Right here. Right here. See how they're saying like breathe, breathe?
Yeah,
Okay,
there
listen
was
to this
so
again.
much said in that little section.
Okay, like Ethan, breathe. Ethan, breathe. Breathe. Like, could that maybe be like I said? I thought it sounded like net, but could it be not like get the vent? Like, do EMS people call a bag mask a vent by chance?
I thought it said Emma get the bag.
Oh, Emma get the bag.
But I don't. I mean, what Emma? We don't know because there's Emma Tiger, there's Emma Bailey, there's all kinds of Emmas running around there.
People are saying get the neck, get the neck.
Oh,
Yeah,
get the
maybe.
neck, get the neck.
Oh, let's hear that. Huh. I don't know. What's your thoughts
There's
on
so
that?
many instances in this piece of footage that could be something completely different. My husband actually did the subtitles for this one based on what he thought. But there are so many things that could be being said, and like that bit there where where he's put get them hands, I can hear 4 different people talking, saying different things all at once, and it's we've tried to isolate the audio and separate them to see if we can, but it's just not possible with this horrible audio that they've provided us. I have put on my channel, on my posts section, we used AI to recreate Ethan's autopsy into, it's just diagrams, it's not graphic at all. But the neck did strike out to me, that it, that's something I've got to go back and look at, is the autopsy pictures that the AI generated and just see.
Yeah, like almost opening the airway up, like get the neck, like this, like get the neck, and then you hear breathe, right? Like I feel like that's a very common command if somebody is struggling from like an opioid overdose or some sort of, right? Like you always want to be like, watch the neck, get the neck.
Do you know what it sounds like to me?
What's that?
It sounds like to me that the fight had broke out. And like I said, I think that's where Ethan was first injured on his legs. It sounds like people are trying to pick him up, get his hands, help him. Like they're having to carry him into the house.
So Ethan's not, but it's weird because I feel like you're almost hearing encouragement for Ethan to like stay with them, like breathe. Like doesn't that sound like that to you all or no?
I mean, if you got cut in the back of your legs, when a person is hurt, what do? Sometimes they hold their breath.
True.
Or if you get like punched in the throat, like in the larynx, that does not feel good.
I mean, it's worth mentioning that in the autopsy, he does have injuries to the jugular and subclavian area. So,
yes, he does.
Yeah.
And then where they're screaming Xana, Xana, and you hear somebody say, "Go with her."
Mm-hmm.
Could they have been telling somebody, "Go with her," so she don't call the police? Go with her.
That was my understanding of it. Yeah, because you can hear, as I say, the Xana. It's like she's walked off and someone's trying to call her back, and then they go after her.
And then you have all the main player names from the Broken Plea book. You have Hayden, Allie. I mean, their names are in there. I don't know who's saying them. I don't know where they are.
There's no way that if you played that to a group of jurors that they would believe that Brian Kohlberger went into that house by himself and in 7 to 11 minutes killed all them people. Because if y'all remember correctly, the police always stated it was a quiet night.
Mm-hmm.
That don't sound quiet to me.
That's why they didn't want to go into trial, in my opinion, because they knew that a jury was never ever going to bring the guilty verdict.
That's why you can't tell me they honestly got to Brian Kohlberger. That's that part. It's too simple to just think that Brian Kohlberger was just in the wrong place, wrong time, and they stretched as hard as they could to make sure that people believed him before there was ever a trial. So, to all of your points, yeah, they never planned to go to trial. That's BS.
My big question about the one thing that I do question about is when Brian Kohlberger's attorney tried to have Bethany subpoenaed back because she held exculpatory evidence that no one else could give to prove his innocence. First and foremost, how did he know who Bethany was? And what was the evidence that she had that would prove he was innocent? And why didn't she want to come back and say anything to anyone? Why did she not come back for when he was signing the plea agreement and it was over and there was no reason for her to even be worried about coming back and being arrested? I mean, those are questions that bothers me.
Yeah, obviously I have no data to support what I'm about to say. It's just an opinion. But the exculpatory evidence, we've heard rumors about maybe some of this was filmed. Maybe somebody was filming on their phone or something. Maybe Bethany had something like that on her phone.
But how would he know if he didn't ever have any contact with them?
The exculpatory evidence is Xana is in black. It's the text message. How do you see Xana in black and Brian Kohlberger is also in black? If Bethany's in her room and or the spare bedroom downstairs, doesn't matter. How does she see any of that?
Yeah, that's true.
Well, first of all, that's not exculpatory evidence. Exculpatory evidence is evidence that is favorable to the defendant that could prove that he had no way of committing the crime. Whether Xana was wearing black or not doesn't prove that he didn't commit the crime.
But when they are sending those text messages, Brian Kohlberger and all of those are already out of that's the exculpatory evidence. He can't be in the house if they are sending the messages about him being in the house.
But that's not... Let me explain exculpatory evidence another way. Okay. Exculpatory evidence says, okay, I'm in my house and somebody comes in and they assault me. Okay. And they kill me. All right. Well, I can't testify, but there's other people in the house. Those other people may have saw something that proves that the person who's being blamed couldn't be the one that did it. It's not a clothing color. It has to be that they saw someone actually commit the crime, or they saw someone leaving that had evidence on them, say blood, or they cleaned up the crime for someone. I've always thought that because of Brian Kohlberger's background in criminology, that maybe they don't know him, but maybe the person who actually did the crime knows him, because they were very, very adamant about he didn't have any contact with anyone from that house. Okay, but that don't mean he didn't have any contact with someone who actually did the crime. And they may have called him and said, hey, I've really messed up. I need to know how to clean this up. And he may have gave them pointers, not realizing that, hey, this is something big. They might even told him, oh, it was a game and they were fighting and we need to clean this up because we don't know problems. And he may have told them, well, you need to go in with bleach water and you need to do this and you need to do that. You need to degrade the DNA, and that's how you do it. You need to degrade the evidence in the house. This is how you'll do it. But my question was, how would she know how would he know that Bethany Funk knew exculpatory evidence that could save him? What made him know her name if he had never had any contact with them? What made him know that her alone, not Dylan, not anyone else, but her alone held exculpatory? Because in the motion to the court, it actually states that Bethany Funk has exculpatory evidence that no other person has that can free him from these charges. So that means that her specifically, there's nobody else. And my question was, how did he know her, that she would have the evidence, that she would know? How would he know who she was if he's never had any contact with anyone? That's what's always bothered me, because exculpatory evidence is evidence that completely proves that you're innocent. It's not something that could, it could sway the court. Exculpatory means it completely escapes you from that charge.
The only thing I can think is that maybe MPD found something on her phone that they didn't release, and Ann Taylor saw that. That's the only thing I can think, but I don't know.
Yeah, I've always thought that it's that Bethany. That's something I agree with the exculpatory being, fully weakening the case or fully getting you outright. It can't be him, whether it's because they would have been texting during the time, whether it's because what you said, Bellamicia, or what you said, Shawley. I've always just thought it's more so what Shawley said. Is there something on her phone that just it says that they know who did it, or they suspected it, or they saw, even if it would have been I saw a girl with them or something else, right?
Or was she with him?
Right.
Lots of people say she wasn't there. A lot of people say when the next morning she came up, she didn't come from inside the house, that she came up to the house. What if she was with him? What if she is his exculpatory, but she didn't want to get involved because she felt threatened?
I don't disagree with that. I do have something very interesting going back to if it says get the neck, because I know a lot of people don't agree with the OD theory. I do think that there's a chance that something like that happened based on the Chapin's behavior, not wanting to talk about justice. Started they were asking, Ethan a lot of questions. If he seemed different, did he interact with certain people? It's my own opinion. So let me think out loud here for this. The autopsies, they found amphetamines and they found alcohol. Okay. The Spokane County Medical Examiner's Office, right, the ones who did the Idaho 4 autopsies, they will send out blood and urine samples to the Washington State Toxicology Lab in Seattle for most cases, okay? According to their own public description, I'm going to read this. It's a standard screen for, quote, selected medications as well as common drugs of abuse. It is not a full targeted synthetic opioid panel that would catch fentanyl and analogs. They have, and they've noted chronic backlogs and delays at the state. So we know that Dr. Veena Singh, the office in Spokane, they released the toxicology reports, the positives that they found being alcohol and amphetamine. There's no documentation in the unsealed reports showing that they ordered or received results from a targeted fentanyl or synthetic opioid panel. Now, there is a court exhibit that shows an MSN lab style report that lists fentanyl, acetylfentanyl as a possible analyte, but that's just the lab standard menu. So it doesn't prove that it was tested. And it got a negative in this specific case. But the routine common drug screen would not necessarily catch that. Have you guys heard that before? Because I find that very interesting.
That is interesting. That is interesting, but to counter that, if he had died of an overdose, he wouldn't have bled out. They could have stabbed him to make it look like he was stabbed up, but he still wouldn't have bled out because your heart stops pumping when you die. So his body was laying face down. If he had died and they just laid him face down because of a drug overdose, then I forget what it's called, but it's where the blood pools wherever you're laying.
Lividity.
Yes, lividity. The lividity would have showed him laying on his stomach. It would have been his stomach, chest, face, the tops of his legs and thighs. The blood would have pooled there. So when he was stabbed and blood was flowing, that's because his heart was still beating and it was flowing out of him. That's how it drained on the side of the bed, went down the side of the house.
Spray. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So get the neck could make sense there.
That's the only problem that I have with the drug overdose is they wouldn't have bled. But I want to say this too. I remember in the beginning of this crime, they had contacted, I guess it was Kaylee's younger sister, and said Kaylee had been shot. And then all that went, and then there were also news reports that there was a shooting, but then they changed that up. But what I find so funny is all four families had their children cremated so they couldn't be re-autopsied. Then the building was torn down so you can't find bullet holes.
Is there any sorry, go ahead, Shelly.
No, I was just going to say also, so the potential jurors couldn't walk around the house and see how easy it was to hear things from certain places in the house as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is there any way that, okay, I'm just trying to, again, thinking out loud here, you guys are sparking, getting my wheels turned. Is there any way that if an overdose started to occur and somebody who was there who had provided the drugs is like, holy hell, because they know what it looks like, they're overdosing, and that kills them as soon as that starts? Could that lead to the arterial spray still happening? Do you know what I mean? Like getting in front of it, not going to let that, I don't know if that makes sense, but meaning like if they're all hanging out doing it and then it like goes bad, they just say, oh shit, there's no saving this, and you kill them.
Well, I mean, once you get to the point to where you have drug overdose on fentanyl, it's just a few, like very short minutes.
Right.
I have a friend whose daughter took a pill at her graduation with some kids. She thought it was that, she didn't think it was fentanyl. She thought it was those pills that the kids take to get all amped up and lovey-dovey. But it killed her within 2 minutes. So if he's outside and he's taking something, I mean, you got a 2-minute window there. I don't think they could pick him up, carry him in the house, and slit his throat, and there'll be arterial spray, because fentanyl stops the heart beating pretty quick. And that's the whole thing about the arterial spray. You're not going to get any arterial spray. You're not going to get any blood flowing if the heart has stopped. And an overdose means your heart is stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I just don't think that the drug overdose thing, you know, it would be easy to tie it up. But if it was just a drug overdose, there wouldn't be any reason for all the other people to be killed. There wouldn't be any
Yeah.
reason to kill Xana because
I think
he did drugs and he did have an overdose. People die of overdoses every day, and there's not a big 4-person murder in their house.
no, I think he was
I think
drugged,
that
but I
people,
don't. Yeah.
yeah, I think he did drugs. I think Xana did drugs because, I mean, it was there in the house and you know, it was in his system, the Adderall, but I don't believe that he did any drugs in the overdose. I believe that he just straight up got into a fight with some people that knew him and he knew them. And that fight got so out of hand that he was injured so badly and they took him in that house and then they went in there and they killed him and they killed Xana. And then Maddie and Kaylee just come tripping home with what's the guy's name? Eric Gower. And he drops them off and they walk into this and they get killed because they know damn well they're going to tell.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're the older, they're the seniors. You know what I'm saying? I think that these people are right now free and they feel like they have they did it. They, you know, they missed the bullet. And some of them may be in the chat right now being nosy, but they got to live with themselves. And there's karma. Karma is horrible. Karma will come back and bite you when you least expect it. So these people that think that they've done something and they've got away with it, their karma will come to them. And I don't feel like Brian Kohlberger is the murderer, but I feel like there's got to be something that brought him to there. Because that would be like if I killed a bunch of people in my house and then over in Lawton, which is not far from, it's about 50 miles from here, they just pick out some random person that don't know me or anybody in this house, and they say, well, he was over there and did it because he drove through and his phone pinged. That don't make any sense.
So I'm gonna say something about that is, and it could just be because we've talked about it here, but I don't know why the whole funding WSU criminology, it's like in our face, guys. Like people say, why? How could they get to him randomly? It's like, it's not random. We have an entire paper trail of Brian Kohlberger interacting with the people that have been investigating it. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, then if you include that part to it and then you bring in all of the other motives for a cover up, it's the perfect person to use to cover it up because there's absolutely no connection to anybody there. So like, to me in my head, I'm like, I feel like it's rather obvious whether Brian's in on it or not. He was chosen because he is known to all of these people who are investigating it. So it's not necessarily if he knows the people in the house, he's known by people who are in the surrounding investigation.
And to me, that's even more crazy because if you were a policeman, okay, and you had to find somebody, a patsy, why would you pick somebody that knows about criminology? Why would you pick somebody that's writing a paper? Nobody in their right mind is going to agree to go to prison for the rest of their life.
Undercover, maybe operation. I'm thinking bigger here, deeper, higher level. I get it.
I mean, I know that a lot of people think the undercover and all that, but let me tell you something. I don't believe that. I don't believe he's undercover. I don't believe these people when they come on the chat and they say, oh, this isn't even real. This is no, this is real. 4 people are dead. They're gone. They are gone. They tore that house down. They covered it up. Okay? They did that. They're dead. They're never coming back. Maddie's father is devastated. Maddie's mother is devastated. You don't see them on TV. You don't see them online hawking anything. No, they're trying to just survive this. Xana's father is devastated. He blames himself for not going back.
But both could be real, right? This crime could have happened and is real, absolutely. And there could be an operation that's put into place.
But what's the operation? I mean, literally, what is the operation that would send him to prison on a full life, no parole? What would the operation be? Well, I mean, what are they trying to find?
So if I'm thinking just from a strictly operational standpoint, my thought would be this. They could be using him to find something completely unrelated, right? Like, we know that you can ride the coattails of a tragedy to have overreach on security measures or what people deem rights, right? Like, I'll use the biggest example being 9/11, the Patriot Act. But for this, right, if Brian Koberger is writing papers about wanting to go in and do semi-formal interviews within a jail, we've read that paper. And my point is, the murder could be real. Why would they do it? Why would he be used to cover it up? Well, it's because they don't want to expose their own corruption. So they come up with this genius idea and they say, well, we could maybe use a public facing clothes to get a guy undercover, get him in there. He's going to go down for this murder potentially. And then we're going to kill his ass in prison, as they're already planting the narrative seed for. And nobody's really going to know, for as far as Koberger goes. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's because I agree with you. Like, both can be real. Both can be real. They could. And so I don't know if that makes sense, Bellamicia, but that's kind of how my brain works.
It makes sense what you're saying, but in the long run scheme of things, they also have to know that the real killer is still out there. And they've let him be out there, or let her, or let both of them. I believe it's more than one person just because of the autopsy reports now. They're out there free. Y'all are free out there. Y'all have made it. Y'all got away with it. But guess what? Karma will come. Karma always comes. And people say, oh, believe in karma. Well, you ain't never been slapped with it, because I have. The whole deal is this. Those people have covered this up. They've covered it up. And whether he's an op or he's just in there because he was a patsy, the fact of the matter is there's people like us that know that that's not what happened. Their narrative is not the truth. 4 a.m.'s not what happened. That's not what happened. So where's justice?
Well, that's the thing. And I will also say, too, I think a big dynamic of this case that's driving people mad, and I guess I'm curious to get your 3 thoughts on this, is, are you going to ever be able to accept that there might not be a grand reveal of what happened? Do you know what I mean? Because at this point, the amount of public pressure that would have to occur, I mean, let's be honest, it's going to have to be like out of this galaxy more than what it is now for them to give us a grand reveal. They've made their bet in it. I think they're going to go down with this ship as long as they can. And I don't know what you guys feel about that, but
I already feel that there's never going to be a grand reveal. Nobody's ever going to walk up to the courthouse and say, guess what? I can't take it anymore. I did it. That's not going to happen. He's going to die in that jail. We're going to watch him die in that jail. And there's going to be people that are going to be like, God, that's horrible. And then there's going to be people that are high-fiving, thinking, yeah, they got him. They got him. But this is the whole sad truth of the matter. None of them got justice.
Yeah.
None of them kids got justice.
I 100%
That's not
agree.
justice.
I don't think it's ever going to be a great reveal. And obviously Steve G's made it very, very clear to everybody that, he wants BK to die in there. It's horrible. It really is.
And I think he should catch a conspiracy charge. I do, because he's conspiring all the time in public, talking about him being killed, talking about he has the inside. Well, if you've got the inside, that means you've been conspiring with somebody on the murder of a person that's in prison. And that's a federal charge.
Yeah.
So Steve G really needs to shut up.
Sleuth, any thoughts on what we've just been discussing? I feel like you've been quiet. I'm not trying to put you in the corner there.
No, yeah. So I mean, obviously, my brother-in-law, he's on death row, so he's in maximum security. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to get to these people. They are there 23 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're not getting anything. The outside communication is up to your lawyer and the prison system, the warden. It goes through a whole chain of just events. And as long as the G's keep speaking out like they do, they will continue to protect Brian Koberger, because as Steve G said so clearly, he apparently has $40,000 on his, books and stuff. So I think that he is making more money than for them alive than he would be dead. But also, Luna opened my eyes to the West Memphis 3, and that case, it just broke my heart. Those 3 little boys will never get justice as long as the governor doesn't want to reopen the case. And I think that's what we have to start doing, is sending letters to the governor. It's not right.
Yeah, I agree. And to all 3 of you, I just want to say thank you guys so much for being willing to pop on up for the first ever Hive Plus Roundtable. We're popping on 2 hours or 2.5 hours already. And so Hive, everybody in here, whether you're in the chat or you're just watching, I'm going to try to do this once a month again. I'll try to pick a consistent date, like maybe the last Saturday of every month, so that we know that moving forward. But Bellamicia, SLEUTHORSNARE, SHAULLYREDACTED, give it up for them, Hive. They did great. And with that, I hope that everybody has a fantastic day. And then for you 3, all you got to do, Bellamicia, Sleuth, or Shawley, once this ends, you just got to exit the studio and you will be off the stream. And so thank you all so much.
Can I just say one more thing? Just because I feel like I have to, really.
Yeah.
So Bethany's a wanker.
Oh, Bethany's a wanker. Okay.
Bill Thompson's a wanker.
Bill Thompson's a wanker.
And Dylan is the absolute uber vampire wanker.
The uber vampire wanker. Well, you rock, Shawley. I hope you and your husband have a fantastic rest of your weekend. Thank you, Sleuth, and thank you, Bellamicia. You guys have a great rest
Thank
of your
you
day.
so much. I appreciate it and enjoyed it.
Yes, absolutely. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.